Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to HIMediaTV. I am your host, Evan from HIMediaTV, and welcome back to the High Soapbox. And we are having a returning person here, who, although under a different name this time,
Yeah.
is a long term friend of the show, Miss Inez, the who used to be a co-host of the Red Rundown with me before, like, both of our lives kind of went to fucking hell.
Yeah.
And now we are both on the other side of some pretty dog shit circumstances mostly, and are now reconnected, which is lovely. And we are here primarily to talk about the four songs on her new uh, album, which is called, because I'm blanking. I remember the fucking names, but Will You Get Sick of Me, Volume One.
Yeah.
And the songs in questions in this case are going to are in order: Sick, Limerence, Bloodletting, and my the groupie. And I wanted to kind of like take a second to go through each of these
Yeah.
briefly, and just because, like, kind of my impressions of what I thought of them, at least initially, and
Mhm.
kind of get, given you're the mind behind them, just kind of see. So for Sick, it is very much, a commentary on love and affection with another person for you, intersected with the current health circumstances you're currently on. If you'd like, feel free to talk about that within, whatever capacity you're comfortable with for the sake
No,
of this going
I'm
out.
I'm fully open to talking about my chronic health issues. So I got diagnosed with endometriosis in 2020 and I had surgery for it. I'm currently on medication for that. I wouldn't say that even I don't know if that's would be the right term, but I'm necessarily in remission from that. But I'm
Yeah, well,
managing it with another chronic illness that I didn't know I had at the time of writing this song. So I started writing this song when a cousin of mine died, and I was like so sick at the time that I felt like I couldn't really grieve properly. And I was also in a relationship where I just felt like my partner was not prepared for how sick I can really get. And
mm-hmm.
ultimately, we end up not working out for each other um, because I remember one time I came out of the hospital and I was just like, hey, are you going to see me today? And he sighs and says, oh, I guess I'll see you while you're sick. And I was just like, wow, okay, then just like don't come then if it's such a drag for you. But I wrote this song like early in the morning, or no, actually, it was late at night. Um, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like 3 a.m. And I just got on the piano, and I think I got like the first like verse came out, and then just the whole song came out. It's like, I cuddle the toilet seat more than I cuddle you. And then I was like, ooh, that's a bar. Like, let's keep going.
Yep,
And just
yep,
kind of
yep. Like,
exploring.
write that down, write that down, write that down.
Yeah, and it was just kind of me exploring how I really felt about how ill I was at the time. Because at the time, I didn't know that I had systemic scleroderma, which is an autoimmune disease that we still don't know the cause of. It's not contagious, but yeah, it causes.
Usually the diseases with the big words are not contagious. That's in my
Yeah.
experience.
But yeah, at the time, I was going through endometriosis flare-ups, and my bones were hurting, and I didn't understand why my bones were hurting because I was only like 24, 25. And it was fucking hell, and I wrote that song as like a meditation on chronic illness. And like you said, like somebody claiming to love me at the time and just being paranoid about how my condition just kept getting worse. And that's why, like, one of my favorite lines in it is, when will you get sick of me, when will you grow ill of calling me baby, because I know you will.
Yeah.
And like the it's a very hopeless song where it's like, sick of being too sick to grieve, sick of being too sick to leave, sick of being too sick to breathe. And it was very real because I do also like have asthma, like with my chronic health situation. I'm currently not in remission. I'm currently on a low dose of chemo to shut down my immune system, and I'm wearing wigs because my hair fell out. And that song is very near and dear to my heart and the band's hearts because like it was their kind of peek into like how real shit really was and how scary shit had been. And like I didn't open up about it previously because I just thought no one's gonna understand. And like what's funny is now that's like the number one favorite song of like my band and all my friends who are aware of my music. Like it's like every time I'm just like, hey, like what song will be good to submit to this contest or whatever, like my bassist Michael is always like
Sick.
sick. Sick is a banger. And recording that song was very therapeutic because it was like nice to hear that, what my previous band said was a song that was too niche and like nobody would be into. My band was like, we were being asked what song are you most excited to record today, and they all said sick.
Yeah. I mean, you have had some struggles finding a consistent band. Like,
Yeah, well, not just a consistent band, but a consistent guitarist. Like we've gone through guitarists and like,
yeah, because
they have the
they all
stereotype.
keep wanting to fuck you.
Yeah.
Three. Okay, we're good. Yeah, sorry for the jump cut there. I know everybody. I don't normally do that, but I made a joke that hit a little too close to home for Inez here, and she was like, "Cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it."
But yes, I will own up to my current we haven't had a practice with him yet, but my current guitarist who's very talented, his name's Angelo Pasluna. He is in Fusebox, which is a local band here that's very good, and Oh Daisy and Lexi's Grin. Like he's very talented. And he also, yes, we are dating, which feels so weird to like I'm like, I'm not even a celebrity, and it's just like, oh, who's this singer dating? Like
No, I bring it up because like every like it's just you know men suck and they keep causing
no,
drama.
and like you had a real point too, because you can leave that in where it's just like, yeah, every like the how you said it, you say it, so they don't say I said shit.
Yeah, no, I said, you guys heard what I said. I kept that part in, but like for the sake of our conversation, for the sake of flow, I said,
I think just guitarists can also be like really egotistical too. And like I think that because like my first guitarist, so basically the history of the band is that initially I had two guitars and I didn't want two guitars. And it's just my ex-boyfriend kind of forced his way into my band. And then I had Gustavo, Gus, we call him Gus Gus. I call him Gus Gus. But he helped me write
cause, like
he
from
helped me
fucking
write two
Cinderella.
songs. Yeah, he helped me write two songs, Limerence and Bloodletting, that are on this album, and he created the demos for them. And I wish him all the best. We it ended up not working out for him because of his work schedule, because he's got a big boy life. And then so there's no beef with that guitarist, but then the next one I had, I'm trying to think. He
See,
who shall not be named.
I'm very, I know all of, I know all, I know the history here, so like I'm trying not to make a comment on like every single little bit you're saying because I know it'd be inappropriate, but it's still very funny.
Well, what's crazy is that the next guitarist I had, I'm not gonna say her name, but he stirred up drama between me and another like local artist, and it was just so unnecessary. And like it
Stupid.
it was just like this person I just felt didn't actually care about the music. Like they had some sort of underlying like motives,
They cared
and
about the
they're
aesthetic.
yeah, well, they're no longer gonna work. Like, I can't see them getting any more opportunities now because this person fucked it up so bad with not just me, but with two other bands, which I shall not name because I'm sure they don't want to be implicated in anything. But it's like, yeah, like some guitarists are just straight up evil, and I've I've kind of been like going through them, and I'm like really hoping that it works out, with our new guitar now that we asked to step in. But yeah, it's like Michael, my bassist, he also tracked guitars on this album. So as for recording purposes, all I really need is Liz and Michael. Liz is also Miss Syncopation. You at Miss Syncopation, you can find her on Instagram. Very talented, like one of the most talented drummers I've ever met. I adore her. She's like she's just one of those people that you can just jam with, and she just figures you out. Like, she's just so talented. And Michael Green, I think his Instagram is Lexi Green. He's definitely the most, like, next to Liz, talented musician I've ever worked with. Plays sorry, not drums. Plays guitar and bass, and he's a full studio artist too. Like, he did the guitar and the bass. And if I'm just speaking for my man, like, Angelo, again, like I said, he's in Lexi's Grin, Fusebox, and Oh
A Partridge in a
Daisy.
Pear
And
Tree.
yeah, and he plays not just guitar, but he also plays drums. So, like, every musician that I'm currently interacting with, I just find to be so talented, and I'm just, like, so grateful to have them in my camp. And we're planning on doing live shows in March.
It took a
Um
second for you to sort of find find your people within this uh the scene you're like in your city. El
yeah,
Paso. I
The El
forgot the name
Paso
of El
scene is
Paso
very,
for a
like,
second.
yeah. The El Paso scene is like everybody knows everybody. El Paso has no privacy, like, and I feel like such, like, a Hannah Montana character when people call me by Inez, because that's not my legal name, that's my stage name. But, like, I already have friends that are calling me Inez, and I'm like, you got the best of both worlds. Like, it totally feels like Hannah Montana, especially because, like, professionally, I work in special education. That's what I'll say. Cause,
Yeah.
like, I don't. But yeah, I have a big boy job, so
Yeah.
I'm also a
Which
matter of, like,
which
balancing that.
opens you and I up to like being able to do stuff together content wise now because of their as long as like, you know, separation of church and state, you're good.
Yeah, and I found that balance. It was hard to find that balance at first, and then, but anyways, any other questions you have about Sick?
No, I was actually gonna leave that as kind of like a as like the place where I wanted to move on to Limerence, which is, one of the things like the flows I have about this album that I noticed is that Sick is a very sad and melancholy song for a lot of reasons. But then like we get into Limerence and you start seeing like, the anger that is there in like a bloodletting, you
Mhm.
know, start bubbling up in Limerence. And I kind of wanted to like ask you to start talking a little bit about Limerence and your kind of inspirations and stuff behind that.
Yeah, so I like that you said that it has that flow, because it definitely starts off sad and then goes to, like, angry and then goes back to sad. And I wanted it to have that vibe. Limerence is so inspired by Julia Wolf, Avril Lavigne. Like, it's just, I wanted to make that, like, pop rock kind of, like, punk girly sound. And I wrote the hook, like, is this just Limerence before you leave, a few months into a relationship I was in. And then, through trials and tribulations, we end up breaking up, and I wrote that song in literally, like, 30 minutes. And it was out of, like, anger. It was out of, like, this, like, low point, and, like, fresh out of the breakup, where I was just like, I was right. Like, this was limerence. This wasn't love. This was obsession until you couldn't control me anymore. And the kind of, like, anger of that breakup, because I felt like I put my all into the relationship, and even at one point risked my job for it, because there was some work drama with their relative.
I
And
remember. I remember. That was a whole fucking thing.
oh,
Go, go, go. You're good.
I'll leave it.
Yeah. No, well,
Okay.
yeah, nah, it's a whole thing. Actually, if you guys want to go listen to it, I don't know if it's still on my channel, but it's probably somewhere in the High Media repository. We go deep into these stories without naming names in a previous interview because I think we did. I had the last time you were on the High Soapbox. It was quite literally post this breakup.
Yes, so let me talk my shit without naming names. So I was
Yes.
working somewhere, and this his relative was creating a hostile work environment by gossiping about me to students, like underage children, gossiping about me. And so what do? After the third time she did it, I reported it. And then he put me in a situation where he's like, it's either your job or our relationship. And I'm like, fuck you, I choose my job. Like girlies,
And
anybody
that was
who
back when the
listens to
economy
my
was better.
soapbox, who's a girly, a they, the them, a gay, whatever, always pick your career over a man because
Yeah.
this man was not worth it.
I'll be honest with
Like,
you, even in hindsight, like if I were an outsider looking in, like I think back to like me and my exes, I'm just like I'm appreciative for everything she did for me, and I hope she's appreciative of everything I did for her, but like the sacrifices both of us made, neither of us should have fucking done, honestly.
yeah, so like when we break up, I wrote that song in 30 minutes, and at the time I was just so hurt because this person talked about marrying me, wanting to move in with me, and then just so quickly, kind of like I felt kind of chucked, even though I did break up with them. But it was just such a messy breakup. So like my favorite bar that I like is like, I'd rather die than move on. I'd rather die than sing this fucking song. And like all my friends when they hear that bar, they're like they laugh a little bit, but I don't mind that. I like that there's an element of comedy to the song.
Yeah.
Like a just a dramatic irony of like I'd rather die than move on, and now I'm like with a much better partner
A much hotter
and a much
partner.
more understanding, a much hotter partner for real. You know what's so sweet is that he's taking me to a doctor's appointment.
None of your other men would have ever done that.
No, absolutely not. And I was like, for real, you want to take me to a doctor's appointment? He was like, yeah, I want to spend the day with you. And I'm just like, okay.
I'm gonna hold on one second. But regardless, moving on. Then we get into bloodletting, which is itself like kind of like a crescendo of like these feelings of anger, sadness, and loss all in one kind of gnarly pile. And
Yeah.
I'm
It's,
curious, like, where did you kind of like I noticed that there's some themes of you like thinking of your like talking about yourself as like a disease and like you need to like and like bloodletting to like rid yourself of you and just like this kind of self-deprecation that I did notice unless I am misreading that. Where did you kind of like come up with this theming?
so bloodletting actually has like so much lore to it. So it started off as a poem I wrote in college about this piece of shit white dude. And like honestly, yeah, how you said like the self-deprecation and seeing myself as a disease and like not knowing if I was in the wrong. And then by the time I made it into a song, I was with a different band and they wanted to create it into this like new metal like garbage. They stole the song title. They didn't steal the lyrics or the music, but they said they were gonna put it out. It never came out, so I don't know what's going on with that. But I I wrote the melody and the lyrics, and at the time with that ex I was with, the same ex we're referencing for Limerence, I was working on the song and I was getting really into it, and I was also realizing that maybe the breakup was coming, and um and the breakup did not end in like no contact right away. Like we still had contact, and so like the song just took on a whole new meaning where it's like love and blood, just let me go. Like I just it's that song is like a a self-deprecating song, but also an angry song where I'm just like,
It's
you
it's
know,
like
I
it's like I can't escape him. He just texted me again.
for real, like that's what bloodletting is about. And I love the melody. It's also the hardest song for me to sing because it goes in so many places and I have my little Haley Williams moment where I go like, but it's yeah, and I love the guitar on it. I just love how like, you know, very like Avril Lavigne it is. Like again, like I'll say my biggest inspirations are like Julia Wolf, Billie Eilish, Avril Lavigne, and like um
Paramore.
Paramore, yeah. And even Haley Williams with her solo stuff. Like
I mean, Haley Williams is
I just
Haley Williams, you know.
yeah. And that song I'm so proud
Haley
of that song because I feel like the
Haley
melody
Williams
is
is who
genuinely
Grimes
hard
wishes
to
she
do.
could be.
Yeah. I'm so proud of that song because I feel like the melody is actually one of the best melodies I've written in the sense of that it's dynamic
Mm-hmm.
and it builds on itself.
Right. I do think I in this kind of brings me to the groupie, which I personally feel is really interesting because you know me, I have like pretty, you know, unorthodox opinions on like women and feminism for like a straight white dude. And I immediately picked up on the themes of like you only love me when I was sexually useful to you.
Yeah, and the groupie is definitely about it definitely has that element where it's like I felt like this person only loved me when I was basically their servant. And
Mhm.
when I wasn't stepping into, the spotlight in any way. And that's why
He loved an
uh
idea of you, not you, the individual.
yeah, because it's like in that song I'm just fully expressing, that I have dreams too. Like I want to perform. I want to be more than your groupie. And I in that relationship, I can pinpoint when it started going downhill, and it's when I started my solo project.
Right.
Like, because I was in his band for a little bit, and then we left on like, what I thought was, mutual decent terms, but apparently not. And then I start my solo project, and things just became volatile on his
Yeah.
end. And,
Because
like
like a loss,
there's
it felt like maybe he had a loss of control of some sort.
yeah, and like that song, so like a sneak peek into the next disc, which would be volume 2. That song also leans into the next thing that I want to write, not write, but I already have it written, but record is Guess What? And that song, one of my favorite bars on it is because I walk in, it's camera lights action, you walk in, it's like nothing happened. Tell me again about my bad reputation. Guess what? I'm better than you.
Yep. And
And
I think in the particular relationship you were talking about, like you were talking about, I remember us talking in the aftermath that you were objectively better than he was by a factor of 10, and he was always resentful of you of that, and you during that relationship you said you minimized yourself quite a lot to make that, you know, to prioritize his comfort in that way.
yeah, and ultimately it wasn't worth it because
Nope,
like and then
never
and then I
is.
wrote that song The Groupie, and I find that song actually like really beautiful because I love the way I ended it with all the layering. And also like I feel like that song probably hurts the most because it's aside from sick, it's very vulnerable where it's just like I'm kind of describing who I was, where it's like I know you love me more as the groupie who dared not sing a note, only help break down the show. Um and I at a certain point when in the beginning of our relationship, I was happy to be his groupie. I was happy to, help out and, because like one of the things he praised me for is like, wow, you actually help us load stuff and stuff. And like, it's like,
It
yeah, like
wasn't
that's,
reciprocated.
yeah, no, it wasn't because I felt like when he pushed his way into being into my project, I feel like he slowed us down, like completely just slowed us down, got in the way, like didn't want to collaborate, just wanted things to sound the way he thought they should sound. And it's like, I'm
That's not
sorry,
how
is
it
the band,
works.
yeah, like, I'm sorry, is the band called Insert Your Name? No, it's called Inez. Like, and sometimes you do have to be like that, but I haven't ever had to be like that with any of my other musicians because they
Even the ones that fell in love
collaborate.
with you.
Yeah. No, that's a big problem. Like singers, I feel like they get sing like musicians in general just get like over sexualized and like glorified and like turned into ideas and like you forget that they're real people.
Well, it also doesn't help the fact that you are, pot and pretty privileged comes with that, unfortunately.
I had a guitarist, I will not name his name, but this weird motherfucker was like 2 weeks into knowing me, he's like, Inez, I love you. And I'm like, what? And he's like a sister. I'm like, that's even weird. Like, you don't know me.
Yeah.
We've had like 2 practices together. What do you mean you love me? The fuck? Get a
It's
grip, white boy.
yeah, I don't know. White boys, I don't know. I'm guilty of this too in terms
Just
of
to be clear, there was no romantic tension at all on my end. And like, I know I'm the kind of person to maybe misread things, but like, in no way did I give that guy the impression that I was
no.
looking for anything, that I was interested in him, and he just like over romanticized me really quick. Over romanticized another singer in the scene too. But I'll leave her out of it.
It's
I can't
just
imagine how weird he
it,
was with her.
it to me it's like at the end of the day, like I get wanting to date and stuff, and if you're in like a community where everybody knows each other and it is intimate in that way, like I get that you're gonna end up dating people, but like conventional rules of like not being weird still apply.
Yeah, and like he wanted to turn Sick into this like hard rock kind of thing where there was like and I'm just like that's not what the song calls for. It's a
No,
really
it's
vulnerable, depressing song.
yeah, it's supposed to be sad. Like I don't have any like my only issues with the album is I question like the engineer who mixed it a little bit, not necessarily pulling out the um potential from the vocals and the um instrumentals that I think could have been.
Yeah, and there might be a remaster somewhere in the
I
future, but as of right now, I was more concerned with getting it out. And
No, that's fair.
I think still in its raw form, it still has merit. And like I'm so proud of all my musicians that helped me put it together.
No, 100%, but it definitely is going to need a remaster because it is I think I don't. It's not It's not badly mixed. It's just criminally mediocrely mixed. I think the instrumentals and no shade to your engineer. I just think that the instrumentals and the vocals are too good to not be mixed. As good as they should be. That's just my kind of 2 cents on it.
No, yeah, and it's like I went through a local studio, GRS, and I'm grateful to them. But like definitely next time, I don't think I'll use a studio. I think I want to go, outsource to like local producers, because sometimes the best music I've ever made was like in someone's house. Like when me and
Yeah,
Gus were making music together, we did that in his bedroom. Like it was just, and it was so much more organic that way.
it was. And but there, and I think the one thing we
But with
do.
the end result, did you expect the songs to be that?
No, I think like I said, ultimately I think the songs are wonderful. I think the album's a great listen. I think it's tonally consistent and has a flow to it despite only being 4 songs. And like I said, my only issue with it is the mixing, and that's probably the only thing that's gonna make, it harder for a more casual listener to pick up. Other than that, like anybody who's like into this, like who's like into the like this like grungy emotional like rock side of music and is into really niche stuff, you're gonna love this shit. I think it's good, and I think it is another great example of how, frankly, awesome the El Paso scene is, and probably that needs to be talked out about a little bit more from a rock standpoint.
Yeah. And like the El Paso scene is also very, what I'm proud of with the El Paso scene is it's also very like down with the system. Like, every like most shows that I go to, they're like Free Palestine, like we locally source, and then also like a lot of musicians I know do charity work. And I'll say that most musicians in the scene, at least in my scene that I know of, are also activists. Like they also give back to the community and raise awareness for not only things like Palestine, but like things that are really affecting our community right now, like ICE.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a proud Chicana, I'm a proud Mexican American, and I definitely want to get more political in my next albums because I'm angry.
Aren't we
And now
all?
I know how to fix that. But yeah, locally, El Paso has like come forward and acknowledged that like ICE is becoming a problem here. Like we've had raids, we've had, kids get deported. It's insane. And I do appreciate my music scene for standing up for migrants and standing up for what's right and standing up for LGBTQ rights. Like technically in some counties drag is now illegal, and El Paso
Yeah.
has tried to get the scene up. We don't obey the laws that are like, oh, you have to get out of your drag clothes before you leave the venue and whatever. Like fuck you. Like we're not doing that.
Make me bitch.
Yeah, I definitely want to line up with some drag queens at one of my next shows. Like I have like visions for shows I want to do. I want to do femme shows. I want to do line up with drag queens. Like I really want like my live shows to contribute to the community in some kind of meaningful way.
Mm.
And I definitely want to add like charity shows like that with like, I would love to do shows at Neep Collective. I would love to do shows at like Mona and Love Buzz. And Love Buzz is probably going to be our first show. So, circa around March, if any of you guys are in the El Paso, Texas area or Las Cruces, um, look out on my Instagram for posts, about shows coming up. Our first rehearsal with like the new band is gonna be next week, and I'm really excited for that. I just really want to get the ball rolling.
Hmm. No, 100%. Um, where can people find you if they want to follow you on social media?
Instagram, at Inez, INEZZZ ____.
Don't you love Instagram handle conventions?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Um, and like, I'm always posting at Miss Syncopation and Lexi Green, Michael Green, my bassist. And yeah, I'm just always up to something. My Instagram is also like kind of political. Like I will unleash my political opinions on there. Like I do have a TikTok. I'll probably just link it with my Instagram so it makes it easier for everyone. Um my TikTok, I'm mainly just gonna focus on music.
Hmm.
Um
Yeah, because TikTok's about to be, fucking
yeah.
useless.
And then what's crazy is I won't say who, but I know somebody who actually like moderates TikTok at a call center.
Oh God, that poor bastard, or bitch. I
Yeah.
don't know,
And then
or troglodyte.
you know
I
what's
don't know. I don't
crazy?
know their pronouns.
They they told me, I'm not trying to expose, so but they told me that apparently the N-word it only gets flagged if it's used in a derogatory way. And I'm like, how is it not derogatory if you're anything but African American?
So, question: how does your family feel about your music, by and large? I know your dad is like wrapped around your fucking finger, so he's probably all gung ho about it. But what about your mom's?
Well, actually, so like my mom and my dad, they were surprised about the genre. Like, and I was like, why are you surprised? Like, look at me. But like they at first they were kind of like when I guess when I was with my previous band, they were kind of like, oh, it's new metal, like like, in which I understand. But now with like my new stuff with my music, my mom, she's just like she has such a deep respect for musicians, and when I showed her like the little snippets of my songs and everything, she's like, oh my god, it's good. Like she's very proud of me. My dad, he
Was he
it
like,
was
"Wow,
like when
I'll
I showed
actually
him
listen to this shit"?
no, it's like when I showed him my first like demos, he was like, "Okay, okay." And then by the time I showed him the tracks that are now released, he was like, "Oh my God, they sound so much better than what you originally had." And like my dad is like, "Hey, when are you gonna do shows?" Like, and my parents have always been like my number one support. Like, they let me live here during college, rent free, as long as I was going full time. Like my parents have just always been my number one support. And my dad, he was the first to ask, "Hey, where can I get this so I can put it on my phone, so I can put it on my playlist?" And
I love
my
that your dad
sister,
still has like physical MP3 files that he uses and listens to.
yeah, and
Fuck
my
Spotify,
sister,
bro.
when my sister first listened to Sick, she cried.
Yeah, no, I see that.
And then, especially because there's one line in there where it's like, my sister's sick of me. She's sick of me being too sick to leave. And she's like, I'm not sick of you. She's like, I'm just sick of you being sick. um,
Ooh, that's actually sweet.
yeah, the album was a very, I think, healing for my family, especially with that song Sick, because they finally kind of for my family members that really listened to that song, they finally kind of like understood where I was coming from and like the kind of loneliness that comes with chronic illness. And speaking of that, like my family has been like my number one support through chemo. They've been nothing but perfect since, since straight up things got worse. Like I wrote that song when I had no idea what was going on. I knew I had endometriosis, but I had no explanation for the bone pain. Um, but as soon as I got diagnosed, they have been nothing but like my rock. Like my family is everything to me, and I think that comes a lot with being Mexican American. Is our families are tight. We face things as a unified front, and chemo's no exception to that.
Right. Yeah, your family, your parents have always been pretty good. I'm pretty sure that they're, you know, choice of men aside, they know that you got a pretty damn good head on your shoulders.
Yeah, we were celebrating when I got accepted into my master's, and then they were just like, "That's what I'm talking about," like because my dad's always just like pushing for higher education with all his children.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, I think this album is, you know, you and I connected at a very, different point in time. You were bouncing around between shitty relationship even shittier men. When you and I were first talking, you had just gotten out of. I think you had just recently, not super recently, but like within like the last year or and a half, gotten out of a relationship with a fucking Marine.
No, okay, so that
And
was
but no detail. We don't need to go into details. But and then like now like you're in with somebody who's like actually like a damn good man, and like you've actually got your EP out. You were doing like a really angry podcast about politics at the time. And like now you're just despite the future not necessarily being the most certain thing on the planet, you absolutely have gotten to a point where you know you've gotten to I feel like you've very much gotten to a point where like this is, oh look, my frontal lobe has finally developed.
no, yeah, because I'm 26. Like I'm gonna be 27 this year. I'm gonna give everyone white lighters as party favors at my birthday party.
i don't
Um,
I don't get
but
that
no, yeah,
joke
like,
because I'm too
oh,
much of a nerd.
the 27 Club, they all had white lighters.
I don't know who the 27 Club is. I'm so sorry.
All the celebrities that died at 27, like Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse, who else? Brittany Murphy.
Is that just is that just like 27 just the age where a bunch of really really famous like good artists just so happen to have kicked rocks at that age?
Yeah.
Got it. All right, that's
So
fair.
we're hoping I survive the 27 Club, and if I don't, that album better go viral.
Yeah, there's actually something in related that I do want to talk to you about after we wrap this up. And speaking of wrapping it up, make sure you guys follow her on social media. Keep an eye out. Again, this is only volume one, so we're going to be back here at a later date, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you go follow her on Spotify. I actually listen to her on YouTube Music, so definitely go listen to Inez on YouTube Music as well. Generally a good time and a good listening experience. I do hope you eventually upload the lyrics as well so I can read them as I'm
The
listening.
lyrics
But
are on Spotify and Apple.
all right, yeah, they're not on YouTube Music, so just something to consider for
Yeah,
us
I
for
don't
us
know.
peasants.
I went through CD baby, so like I don't like
You don't
I'm
know
just rolling with
if
the punches.
yeah, that's fair. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the High Soapbox here on High Media TV. Inez, thank you for joining us. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I've loved having you anytime. Have a wonderful rest of y'all's day, and I'll see you guys next time.